Welcome to another episode of Breaking the In-Ring Podcast. Blowouts, upsets, close calls, overtimes, you name it, we had it this weekend. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. Brandon, how we doing today, man?
Not all right. One of those blowouts was my team, but we'll have a minor discussion on my team later. How you doing though?
I'm doing good. We're back in the winning column. Quarterback was back as well, so we got the W, so I'm happy. Can't complain.
Understood. All right. Got an opening drive. A lot of stuff going on in the NFL since last time we saw you all. Former quarterback and Fox play-by-play man Mark Sanchez. He's recovering after being stabbed in Indianapolis. Sanchez was charged with attacking a 69-year-old truck driver. Ravens running back Derrick Henry tied Walter Payton with his 110th rushing touchdown in Sunday's blowout against the Texans. That's fifth all time. Patriots running back Antonio Gibson, he's out for the season with a torn ACL. The Raiders, they've released linebacker Jermaine Pratt after 4 games. Colts kicker Spencer Schrader unfortunately tore his ACL and MCL in his right knee. His season is over. The Browns have traded quarterback Joe Flacco, or as Ed calls him, Joe Fluco, to the division rival Cincinnati Bengals. Very interesting trade right there. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, he's been fined $250,000 for giving Jets fans the middle finger last Sunday's game at MetLife. He said he was trying to put up his, trying to give him a thumbs up. Is what I'm hearing happen. Another interesting situation. Cardinals, they fined head coach Jonathan Gannon for his sideline encounter with running back Amari DiMarcado. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Multiple moves in Baltimore today. The Ravens have traded pass rusher Adafe Owe to the Chargers for safety Alohi Gilman. And we also added safety CJ Gardner Johnson to the practice squad. He was recently let go by the New Orleans Saints, if I'm not mistaken. And former Super Bowl winning defensive lineman Arthur Jones, he had passed away. He won the Super Bowl with my Ravens back in 47, Super Bowl 47, 2011, 2012. He was 39 years young. A couple thoughts on this opening drive. I don't know how Jerry Jones, I know he's in his 80s. I don't know how you can sit there and lie and say that you thought you was intending to give Jets fans a thumbs up. There is a big difference between big difference between the thumb and the middle finger. I ain't gonna put my middle finger up at y'all. We learned this in probably kindergarten when we was doing the little turkeys with our hands. Yeah, that's I don't know. But to the Ravens, Adafi Owe, keep it with my hand signals deuces, okay, because they only had one good season. I know I was talking to my boy Kevin. He's a Ravens fan. Went to school with him, or went to college with him, and he was like, this he didn't like the move. He said that it was making an already bad, depleted defense even worse. So I was like, honestly, Adafe Owe, he wasn't playing much this season. When he was playing, he wasn't producing. He had 10 sacks last season, very good. But all the other seasons, he's I think since 2022, he hasn't really produced up to the I believe a second round pick that we spent on him in a very good draft class that year. If I'm not mistaken, it was 2022, may have been sooner. But we need defensive help all the way around. So I guess that's their way of starting. CJ Gardner Johnson. My only thing with him, there was some issues supposedly out of New Orleans of why he got released. They said his mouth was running a little bit more than it probably should have. Um, we'll see how it goes. Maybe he'll become that defensive leader. I was thinking about after this game Sunday that we kind of need a defensive guy to be able to step up and tell our guys that they need to play better. They need to do better, kind of like Ray Lewis used to do. Fire the guys up. I think Roquan Smith is decent at it, but he's a little bit more quieter than Ray Lewis was. So maybe CJ can come in there, when he is on the field or on the sideline and help our guys, get that intensity back, that Ravens defensive football that we're all used to. But at the same time, I also feel like this is saying that Kyle Hamilton's injury is a little bit worse than what Harbaugh and them are saying. To sign two safeties or trade for one and sign for one in the same day, literally within minutes, was when these press releases came down, these transactions came down. Is really really interesting. I know Malachi Starks hasn't necessarily played up to his standard either, in my opinion. He's made some plays, but he's not like that guy that everybody thought he was going to be coming out of Georgia. At least to start, he's got a lot more football to learn, a lot more football to play. So we'll see. But to make two moves like that, I think it's more so towards that Kyle Hamilton injury than it is we need help in the defensive backfield. Your thoughts on opening drive?
Yeah, my first thoughts is the Mark Sanchez situation. I wonder what's going to happen there. Is he going to get some jail time? Is he going to get fired from his Fox gig? Definitely
Yeah.
um, a strange, weird situation. I hope the driver that he attacked is all right. I hope Mark Sanchez recovers from being stabbed too. But yeah, that was definitely crazy. Rest in peace to Arthur Jones. Familiar with him as well, playing with the Ravens. He's a big brother of John Jones, big mixed martial arts superstar as well. Um, kind of surprised. Well, not surprised. I was a little sad about Antonio Gibson. I remember seeing him getting. They were helping him to the locker room. It looks like, and I'm pretty sure he knew right then and there that his something was bad. Where I don't know if he knew it was torn, but he probably knew something was bad because you can see him emotional as he was going back to the locker room there. Um, Joe Flacco, he has the opportunity to be the second quarterback ever, if I'm not mistaken, to win against the same team twice in one season because he beat the Packers with the Browns and the Bengals. They will be playing the Packers this week, if I'm not mistaken. So it'd be real funny if he went out there with the Bengals and beat the Packers. I'm expecting them to get the doors blown off them by the Packers, but I could be wrong. You got to play the game to win the game, but definitely interested to see how that goes as well. And then the whole Cardinals head coach thing, I kind of feel bad for him because I completely understand him losing this shit about his running back fumbling a damn ball. I'm gonna say it right now. That's my bonehead move of the week. Just like the Colts wide receiver A.D. Mitchell fumbling the ball last week into the end zone. This damn running back Mari DeMarcado does the same thing, and potentially that's the game right there. Because I mean, at that point they were up 21-6, and that happens. I completely understand Jonathan Gannon losing this shit and cursing him out or whatever he did, ripping him a new on the sideline and stuff like that. Maybe it's because he hit him a little bit on his shoulder or something. Maybe that was part of the reason for the fine. But I get it, man. I know it can't happen. You shouldn't. You're the head coach. Blah blah blah. But I completely understand that. So yeah, that's all my thoughts on the opening drive, though.
Real quick, I forgot to add to our opening drive. Ravens super fan Wes Henson, we call him Captain Defense. He passed away. I understand he was sick lately. Don't know how many games he made it to recently, but he's definitely been a mainstay at M&T Bank Stadium and even at the old stadium. I think it was Memorial Stadium back when we first came to Baltimore. He was always dressed up in all purple. I'm gonna have a picture on the screen shortly when we edit the show out. But a great guy. Never met him, but a lot of Ravens fans knew him. The ones that season ticket holders and all that stuff. Him and Real Fan Dan are probably two of our biggest notable fans at the stadium. Real Fan Dan does the Ravens chant after each touchdown. Of course, if y'all been watching Ravens games this year, we haven't had a lot of touchdowns, but he gets those chants going. And Real Fan, excuse me, Captain Defense is of course known for our defensive side of the football. So rest in peace to him. Wes Hansen, I believe he was in his 90s. All right, turning our attention to the first game on our schedule that we're going to talk about, an absolute offensive explosion in the late window last Sunday afternoon at Lumen Field. Tampa Bay came out on top 38-35. Ed?
Yeah, man. No Bucky Irving. Still without Mike Evans. No problem for the Bucks, man. They were without a bunch of pieces on the defensive side of the ball too. I think a couple of their cornerbacks are out. Jamel Dean was one of them that I can remember off the top of my head. They jumped out to a 13-0 lead, and then Seattle finally started getting things going. But in the end, Baker was fired up. There was a clip of him getting back and forth with the fans in the stands and stuff like that. After the game was over, he ran back and said, "I told you so. I told you so." To Seahawks saying, "Can't really much say nothing but say you still suck," and stuff like that. But
Yep.
another good win for the Bucks. Another close loss for the Seahawks. just overall looking forward to this NFC West. I'm done with the Cardinals. I think the Seahawks, they have a real good shot of making the playoffs and staying in this division. Even though the Rams and the Niners look both pretty good, I think the Seahawks going to have a chance too. Darnold, I mean, even though he had that gaff at the end where he threw the ball off one of his linemen's helmets, but 4 touchdowns. Him and Jackson Smith and Jigma have been great so far this year. Like to see a little bit more from Kenneth Walker. I think in the long run, the Seahawks are going to be fighting for a playoff contention. And as far as the Bucks, man, they get healthy. They get Mike Evans back. They get pieces back on their defense. Brandon, your prediction of them going to the Super Bowl might be a reality because Baker Mayfield so far has been looking pretty good. They're winning close games. And this rookie, Emeka Egbuka, man, I mean, another case for offensive rookie of the year. 7 catches, 163 yards, and a touchdown. He's looking great out there. And they're doing it right now without a bunch of major pieces I missed earlier. So this is a good win for the Bucks. What are your thoughts on this game?
Hardest working people at Lumen Field Sunday afternoon were the men and women that were raising the field goal net. Because every time you turn around, somebody was scoring. They was having to kick an extra point. Like legit, it was a lot of scoring in this game. Every scoring drive in the second half by both teams were for 50 yards or more. Every scoring drive in the second half was a touchdown as well, except for that final Tampa Bay field goal. Baker was 11 for 12 in play action passes. His offensive coordinator, Josh Grizzard, he saw something in that Seattle defense, and they took advantage of it for sure. You mentioned Emeka Buka; he continues to shine. Some people could say that he's making people kind of forget about Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. Mike Evans. I know that's hard to say. Those are legit, probably future Hall of Fame wide receivers, but this guy is shining
He's
out there on the
definitely
field
got
for sure. Yeah. So Sam Darnold on that final drive, Levante David undercut the pass, stares down the wide receiver. Sam Darnold did. He hits the Bucks defensive lineman in the helmet, and it was picked off. I texted you right after that play. I said, "Fucking Sam Darnold, man! I needed them to win, and he threw a fucking interception. Sorry ass clown." That's exactly what I said. But when Seattle got the ball back, with a chance to win it. They only needed a field goal with 68 seconds. I thought to myself, yeah, Darnold's gonna fuck it up, and sure enough, he did. But yeah, I like Tampa, but I was definitely pulling for Seattle in this one. I just thought Seattle had enough there at home, and they kind of did until to that last interception. But it was a hell of a game for sure. Good game by both teams. Again, besides that last interception
yeah,
by
definitely was a
Sam
good
Darnold. That's all I got on this one.
All right, man. Before we get this next recap started, this episode is brought to you by Premium, a CBD health and wellness company. Check out their line of CBD infused products, which are a perfect after workout refuel for athletes, a pain reliever for weekend warriors, and even a natural sports drink for us armchair quarterbacks. Their featured product is CBD infused honey, which is a personal favorite of mine, as well as tinctures of mint and natural flavors. They are veteran, women, and minority owned. So come get some of this sweet temptation and taste the premium difference. Use code B&E for 15% off your order. Their website is premium.com. And now let's get back to our show. Game you picked wrong with the Bucks and Seahawks. I picked wrong. You got it right with the Dolphins and the Panthers. You freaking called it with Rico Dowdle. Brandon, what happened with this Panthers Dolphins game, man?
Yeah, man. I admit to y'all when I'm wrong, but I also tell y'all when I was right. As you mentioned, I said Carolina can run all over this Dolphins defense because teams have been doing it all season long. Rico Dotto stepped up big for injured Chuba Hubbard, and you kind of had me second guessing when you mentioned that he was going to be out. But 23 carries for 206 yards and a touchdown, second highest rushing total in franchise history, first rusher of over 200 yards across the entire league this season. Everyone, he was basically like 90% of that Carolina offense. They finished with 239 yards on the ground. Wasn't all easy for Carolina though. Tua and the Miami Dolphin offense, they were clicking on all cylinders. after that Darren Waller touchdown early in the second quarter. I remember you texting me saying that Darren Waller's playing pretty damn good in this game. Carolina's defense, though, they showed up in the second half. They limited Miami to only one touchdown and 19 yards on the ground there after halftime. McMillan, he's proved to be another good addition at the rookie wide receiver position for an NFC South team. Of course, we got Emeka Buka down in Tampa Bay, Tet there in Carolina. He's a tall target for Bryce Young. He had 6 catches for 73 yards. Xavier Legette and Jimmy Horn Jr. They also had some crucial late game catches as well, including that 17-yard snag, 4th down and 5 for Carolina down in the stretch. Miami 1-4, winless on the road. Things just seem to be getting worse, honestly. Good win for Carolina. They typically don't get this second win until usually after the midway point in the season. Yeah, that's my thoughts on this one. You?
Yeah, I think it was last week, maybe a couple weeks, we were talking about teams who are winless or who could turn the season around. I picked the Dolphins as one of them. Well, after that game on Sunday, I completely thrown out the window. The Dolphins cannot stop anybody right now, especially running the ball. As Brandon mentioned, Rico Dotto had a career game. The first half they were up 17-0. I'm thinking to myself, I got this pick locked in the bag. My parlay was looking good. I was completely wrong. Second half turns around, and I mean the Dolphins couldn't get anything going. That first half, Darren Waller 5 catches, 78 yards on the touchdown. Nothing going in the second half. He might as well just sat on the bench the second half because he wasn't a factor in the second half at all. I don't know what was going on with that. The Dolphins defense, Mike McDaniels, I feel sorry for you, man. Your seat is definitely hot. I'll be surprised if you make it through the whole season. But that defense is just, I don't know what they could do to stop that. And it's strange because you would think their defensive line and the linebackers be one of their main strengths. Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, even though he's coming off a serious injury, I still think he's a really good player. So I'm kind of surprised by the way the defensive line in particular, the linebackers have been playing, allowing this to get gashed like that in a running game. But I called out Xavier Legette in our preview show. He had a great snag for a touchdown. So salute to him for coming out there. I know he was dealing with a hamstring injury earlier this season, so hopefully he gets that back in the stride. But like you said, McMillan is looking like a really good receiver. He looks like a true number one in the future for the Carolina Panthers. Interested to see if they can build off this. They can win a couple more games, see how their season goes, save Bryce Young's career as a starter for the Panthers, or is this just one of them games where the Dolphins stink as it's looking like? But for the Dolphins, I thought y'all had a chance. This was a must-win game for me, in my opinion. Y'all looked like y'all had it. Even towards the end of the game, Tua had that touchdown to Jalen Waddle, put him up, but Panthers scored again because the Dolphins defense probably let me and you score on them. And then once again, the Dolphins had a chance, but they couldn't get it done. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, definitely a good win for the Panthers. Very, very bad loss for the Dolphins. You see Mike McDaniels walking to the locker room looking sad as hell. I felt bad for him.
All right, everyone. Monday Night Football, Kansas City and Jacksonville Jaguars over the Chiefs. Came down to the wire. Ed, break this one down.
Patrick Mahomes, man, these close game, one score game situation, the Chiefs come up on top, but not last night. Trevor Lawrence, don't matter. You can stumble, fall, trip over a shoe, trip over a blade of grass, trip over water. You get up, break a couple tackles, score a touchdown. That pick six that Mahomes threw, very, very big. I think that was the game right there, honestly. I mean, I know they came back and scored a touchdown very late in the game, but I think that if they would, because they were in red zone, I think he got picked off, but they were on like the 6-yard line. They were in score position. I think that was the game right there that got the Jaguars back in this game. It was one of the reasons they won it. Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars got down to a 14-zip, deficit, but they came back. 2 rushing touchdowns by the Jaguars by Trevor Lawrence. Travis Hunter, he had a great catch. He didn't have much, production, 3 catches for 64 yards on the offense side of the ball, but when he did make catches, he can break some tackles. This dude is electric, man. It's like he's automatically guaranteed to make a guy or two miss and get some more yards. And if you throw it to him deep, the ball skills this guy has, he's just a natural with it. The catch he made, where he came back, jumped for it, caught the pass, it was beautiful, man. Him and Brian Thomas. Hopefully, Trevor Lawrence can continue to grow. He did have an interception in this game. He did lose a fumble in this game as well, but the Chiefs, the defense really surprised. Chris Jones, I know he's catching a lot of heat for that touchdown that Trevor Lawrence scored at the end of the game, where it kind of looks like Chris Jones is just watching what happened. In my opinion, I'm guessing he thought that, when Trevor Lawrence fell down, he was looking at it as like one of the defenders is going to get him. So he kind of stopped and just watched what's going on. And then as the play kept going, he was like, oh, damn. And, he was just out of play. But he's definitely catching some heat for that play or non-play he had on that. Good win for the Jaguars. They are 4-1 right now. Liam Cohen's looking good. Duval. Liam Cohen is looking good right now. I'm very interested to see how the AFC South is going to shake out. The Texans going to come back and make some noise. Are the Colts going to continue to battle out? But right now, the Jaguars sitting at 4-1. They could potentially win the AFC South, which I did not see happening. But Trevor Lawrence, him and Liam Cohen, I think they'll continue to build and make some noise. And that defense, they made some plays last night. We'll see what happens. And the same time for the Chiefs, I'm wondering when they get Rashee Rice, I really want to see when they get him back. I really want to see how they look, but definitely got some concerns. I know they beat y'all, but y'all y'all got y'all issues. The Ravens, I mean, but definitely tough loss for the Chiefs. What are your thoughts on this game, Brandon?
They say the Lord works in mysterious ways, and I must agree. All right, Jacksonville, they came out a little slow. Everyone, those first three drives were punt, punt, fumble. All that before they finally got on the board on a long drive in the second quarter. I was watching a little bit of it. I had to go to work after that. Usually, I don't watch these primetime games, but I was like, I got a feeling. Again, I didn't watch the remainder of the game. I didn't even follow on my phone or online. So I just wanted to kind of let it play out. I wasn't too confident at that point when I turned it off either. But I want to talk about this defense. I gave y'all the numbers last Friday. They didn't win the turnover battle, but one turnover they forced was a key play. Ed, you mentioned it. Devin Lloyd, one of two Jacksonville defenders I mentioned last Friday. He picked off Mahomes, returned it to the house, 99 yards. That play I felt like gave Jacksonville the momentum to finish off this game and finish off the defending AFC champions. That was a win that Jacksonville needed, again, I said it last Friday, to give them the respect and the national attention they deserve for starting 4-1. Am I a believer in Liam Cohen? No. But am I a believer in this defense? Yes. Too bad my Ravens couldn't beat the Chiefs and the refs, but it's always good when another team does it.
All right. A team I'm happy lost this weekend. Broncos beat the Eagles. Thank the Lord. Broncos beat the Eagles 21-17. I think both fan bases, both groups, both teams have some issues with the refs. A lot of talk about the reffing in this game, the inconsistencies, especially for the Eagles. In my honest opinion, I think what happened was the refs missed some calls for the Broncos late or earlier in the game, and they try to make up for it by giving some calls late in the game, because there was a penalty on Zach Bond that was just the other two, but that Zach Bond one where it was a late hit,
Yeah.
roughing the unnecessary roughness. I mean, that call was absolutely terrible. That definitely helped with extending the Broncos drive and having them come back winning this game. But one thing I was kind of surprised about, I mentioned it, I was wondering which line would win the game, which line would win the battle. Tony Romo kind of talked about a little bit during the broadcast where he was talking about how the Broncos was starting to impose their will because they were able to run the ball. Even when they were down 17-3, there were points in the game they were able to run the ball. J.K. Dobbins, the rookie Harvey, they weren't busting huge games, but 5-yard gains here, 6-yard gain there, getting the first down on 2nd and 5, running the ball. That really helped them out. It kept the Broncos on the field, kept that Eagles defense on the field. And, Bo Nix was making plays with his legs. They were able to, win this game. The chemistry, I'm going to be taking a look at this all season, but the chemistry between A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. There was one play, some people were saying it was an overthrow by Jalen Hurts. Others are saying that AJ Brown didn't run the route all the way. He kind of slowed down towards the end. And I'm in that belief where AJ Brown, if he ran the route as hard as he did when he started, that could have been a potential catch. So I'm definitely going to be paying attention to the chemistry between AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts as the season goes along. But the reffing in this game was, really bad. That Zach Bond call was bad. They had a pass interference that they didn't call on the Eagles earlier in the game that the Broncos were like, what the hell are we doing out here? And I think the next drive, they called a pass interference on I think it was on the Eagles. Either way, it was against the Broncos where they called a pass interference and they picked up the flag and it benefited the Eagles. But the referee in that game was really bad, man. That Zach Bond call, I'm going to be honest with you, Eagles fans. You see, I wear my Commanders jerseys. I do not like the Eagles, but I'm not biased with this. That call, y'all definitely got housed with that one. That was a bad call. It definitely helped the Broncos win that game at the end. So sorry for y'all, but hey, that's what it is. It's still early in the season. We get to the midway point. We get to later in the season. I got a lot of games left, so we'll see what happens with that one. Brandon, what were your thoughts on this game, though?
Yeah, damn near all of Denver's offense came in that second half. They were down 17-3 heading into the fourth quarter. They went methodically down the field to get two scores, basically within 5 minutes of each other, plus the gutsy call to go for it for two by
Yeah,
Sean Payton proved to be the difference in this game. Let's look at Denver's final drive. Knicks nearly got the intentional grounding. His receiver was making his way back to the play. 2nd and 6 from midfield. They picked up the flag on that one a few plays later. 3rd and 2 at the Philly 29. Philly got the unnecessary roughness you mentioned on Vaughn. Late hit, set up the ball. Philly 14-yard line. Drive leads to a Denver field goal. Philly didn't have any timeouts at that point. They get the ball back. Nick Bonito, a guy I've been high on this season and last season, bull rush for the sack. 2nd and 14, they have a dump off to Saquon. 3rd and 7, the pass was knocked down by Barron against Goddard. Barron had some jersey pull on that play, but it wasn't called. I know Philly fans were hot about that one as well. 4th and 7 at Philly's 29, it was incomplete to Goddard, but the defender basically tackled him ahead of the pass. It was a holding on number 34. Sets up the ball at the Philly 47. Hurt hits your former player Dotson for a crossing route. Ball at 29. They had 9 seconds. Hurt incompletes pass to Goddard. 34 was all over him. No flag. Again, another play. Eagles fans were a little fired up at 2nd and 10. 4 seconds left on the clock. Denver had 3 men rushing. Everybody else was back in coverage. Hurts he had all day. Incomplete in the back of the end zone. That was the play where everybody was saying that Brown basically knocked the ball out of Devontae Smith's hand. Hufanga helped, get that ball out. They kind of swatted it down out of the back of the end zone. 5 Denver defenders in the area. Another big talking point of this game was the lack of production or lack of plays, I guess you could say, for Saquon. He had 1 carry in the second half. That's been really big in Philly sports talk radio this week since the game. But on the other side of the field, second half adjustments, Sean Payton, he's one of the best. First half, Bo Nix 10 for 21, 79 yards. Second half, 14 for 17, 163 yards. So that was a very good, whatever Sean Payton saw on tape at halftime, his offensive coordinators, his position coaches, whoever was in charge of it, Bo Nix, even the guys on the field, kudos to them for fixing that offense from first half to second half. But yeah, Denver was 1-112. I don't know if you heard this on the road when trailing by 14 or more points heading into this game. So they won their second game, and it's crazy to think I heard this on NBC. I think Sunday Night Football countdown, as well as Monday, that the quarterbacks that they've had over the years, to think that they've been down by 14 and more points at any point in the game, and they haven't really came back like that. When they had John Elway, Peyton Manning, Jay Cutler, the guys that they had, pretty good quarterbacks over the years, but they got their second win in 114 games. So yeah, Denver, good for them. Again, whenever anybody wins in the AFC West, except for Kansas City, it's a bonus for me, and I'm happy. So thank you, Denver. Sorry, Philadelphia. I still like y'all, but yeah, on
I,
next week for y'all.
they did have some shitty quarterbacks after Manning too, though. I'm sure the
You're right.
quarterbacks in between there definitely had a lot to do with
Yep,
that.
contributed to it.
Yeah. All right, man. My Commanders, they did it. Brandon, what are your thoughts on this game, though? I'm gonna let you get it started.
Oh yeah, I'll be quick. To say I'm shocked, I am definitely shocked at the outcome of this one. Y'all went to LA and knocked them in the jaw on offense and defense, in my opinion. Let's talk about 5 sacks, limiting their rookie running back to 44 yards. I know he left the game, but still, Herbert was the leading rusher with 60. Y'all had a good game against Lad McConkey and Quentin Johnston, a guy who's really took a step forward for for this LA offense. Kind of held him in check. Speaking of Quentin Johnston, Chargers never recovered after that second quarter fumble, in my opinion. Everybody probably feels the same as well. Looking at their remaining drives on the afternoon, punt, they had to kneel down before half, a punt, a turnover on downs, interception, and the end of the game. That's a good way to take the momentum and get out of town for win. You've been saying you wanted your team to run the ball consistently, more consistently. It turns out y'all were second in the league in rushing before this game. I remember texting you that, I think, Sunday morning. I had heard that, and y'all positively added to that total on Sunday 163 yards on the ground, 5.8 average per carry. Very good numbers right there. The Chargers, they still have 2 more December games against NFC East opponents, but I don't think after this one they want to see anybody else in the NFC East. They lost to the Giants last week, and they lost to the Commanders on Sunday. And then you probably have, um, let's see, you have Dallas, one of the better offenses, and then you have that New York defensive line down the stretch. So yeah, 0-2 versus Ed's division so far for the Chargers. Ed, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I got to give a shout out where it's due, man. I got to shout out the defense, specifically Johnny Newton, Johnny Jerzon Newton, and my boy Mike Sarensil out of Michigan. Go Blue. The defense this game was more. Let me take that back. The defense in previous game was more of the gates wide open, the flooding. This game they were more of a bend but don't break. They get to the goal line, make some plays happen. Like you said, they were getting after Justin Herbert. I think he got sacked 5 times. Let me also give a shout out to our offensive line. Jaden Daniels only got sacked 1 time compared to the other games where he's getting knocked on the ground every damn play, particularly against the Packers, man. I was so glad to see our quarterback back. That first drive, I was pissed off though. I think it was like a pass, and then like I don't know. I think it might have been a design run for Jaden, but it just didn't work out. Kind of looked the same way the Packers were. I remember I texted you in this game because the Chargers went up 10-zip. I'm like, here we go again. Fucking linebackers nowhere to be found. It's just bullshit happened all over again. But like you said, man, that fumble happened. Ja'Cory Croskett Merritt, Bill. Also, he got the Let's Fucking Go or the LFG award by Tom Brady at the end of the game. They need to take the training wheels completely off of him. I need to see him 20 plus carries. Just make him the number one bell cow back. 14 carries, 111 yards. He's leading the league right now with 6.6 yards per carry. Let's continue to see that going. Chris Rodriguez, McNichols, they can definitely get the ball here and now, but we need to run the ball. I wanted to see us run the ball even more than that. We had 28 total carries between all the runners out there, including Jaden Daniels, design runs and his scrambles. But I want to see us run the ball even more. In my opinion, let's run it down these teams' throats. But overall, man, I was shocked by the game. At first, I thought the Chargers were going to blow the hell out of us. There was a run where I thought Justin Herbert was going to score on a scramble. It was like a 41-yard run. You was talking about CJ Stroud looking like Mike Vick or somebody. Well, Justin Herbert was looking like that too in that one run. He had 41 yards. I was like, is he about to score on this play? But thankfully, we were able to stop him. The defense, hopefully we can build off this, man. I know the Chargers, they were out with some linemen. Omar and Hampton went out, and don't wish injury on anyone, but this dude, Omar on Hampton, man, I was talking about Travis Hunter making guys miss. He made a tackle. He made a defender miss almost every time he touched the ball. Frankie Louvu, I mean, it's guaranteed he's gonna miss a tackle every damn game at this point. But Omar Hampton, if he wasn't out the game with that ankle injury I think he had, who knows how this game would have went? Because that dude is tough. I think he's going to be really good in this league if he can get healthy again. But man, I got to shout out the defense, man. Debo Samuels and Jaden Daniels look great together. Scary Terry wasn't out there, but I think we're starting to call Luke Spooky Luke. Jaden Daniels patented throw down the field, 50-yard catch by Luke McCaffrey. Hit him right in the bread basket. Had to dive a little bit for the ball, but just beautiful play, man. Jaden Daniels is starting to look like how he was later in the year, last year. And I'm liking to see how this offense is look. If we can run the ball and then let Jaden Daniels do his thing, the offense runs smoothly, moves smoothly. Chargers couldn't do anything with us. And I'm happy to see this win. We got the Bears and Monday Night Football next. Build a momentum off this. You know, the Bears going to come and whip our ass with the Hail Mary pass last year. Let's see what we can do.
All right, everyone. You would think the Patriots won the Super Bowl and Drake May is the new Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, or Joe Montana after getting sacked 4 times and throwing 0 touchdowns on Sunday Night Football. But nevertheless, New England upset the Buffalo Bills 23-20. Let's go to the guy that doesn't like either of these teams.
Oh man, like you said, the Patriots hype train is steaming and rolling right now. Drake Mays and next Tom Brady. I mean, Stephon Diggs. I gotta give a shout out to Stephon Diggs. Definitely came out there. It was a bunch of video after the game showing them hyping up the team. You know, the pregame speech before the game, during the game. Just definitely Stephon Diggs came out there and showed some heart. He definitely wanted to beat the Bills. 10 catches, 146 yards. Drake May, I will give him a shout out. He had one play late in the game. I thought he was going to take a sack or throw the ball away, but he was able to stiff arm the defender, keep him off for a little bit, and throw the ball. I thought the ball was thrown away, but he threw it to Diggs. Diggs made a great catch and was able to get a first down out of it. That was real late in the game, and you could hear the crowd groan a little bit for the Bills, like, oh my God. And yeah, man, it was just that day for the Patriots. Everything went right for them. I think Josh Allen had a few turnovers. I know he had an interception. Can't remember if he had a fumble, but definitely, you know, turnovers for the Bills did not help them out in this game. Weren't able to overcome it. Patriots defense was able to contain the Bills for the most part. They didn't do a lot. The Bills, I mean, on offense. Drake May, you know, like I said, he's the next Tom Brady apparently. Um, you know, this. Oh my God! I mean, the hype train between these guys. The media is gonna hype him up. Mike Vrabel, I'm sure he's coach of the year right now too. It's just Lord have mercy. But I got to give credit where credit's due. They were able to win a game. I think this was a big upset, even though it's a divisional opponent. Anything can happen with these division games. Pretty sure a lot of people thought the Bills were going to win this one, but Drake May, Stephon Diggs were able to do their thing out there, and they were able to come out with a win against the Bills. So good win for the Patriots. We'll see how this goes, but I'm sure Patriots about to think they're winning the division now. Brandon, what are your thoughts on this?
I'm not gonna give any credit to the team. I'll give credit, and I damn sure ain't gonna give no credit to Mike Vrabel. Sorry, y'all. I still think he's overrated, and I still don't like him. But I will give credit to Stephon Diggs, the guy you mentioned. He was featured a lot in this game early and often. He had a fire in his eyes in this game, averaging nearly 15 yards per catch. The Maryland standout, University of Maryland, shout out UMD, finished with 10 catches, 146 yards. Everybody's talking about the performance of his quarterback, Drake May. Excuse me, I'm going to talk about his former cornerback, though. The reigning MVP, responsible for 2 turnovers, the muff handoff to Dalton Dawson Knox, excuse me. And on the opening drive, that one, and then his interception to Marcus Jones in the red area, they were down by 3. And then Keon Coleman, he also fumbled, which set up New England with an extremely short field. So all those contributed to this loss there. We also saw the first time in a while that James Cook has been limited in what he's done on the football field. 15 carries, 49 yards. His first game under 100 scrimmage yards this season, as well as an 8-game touchdown streak snapped. He had gotten in the end zone for 8 straight games at least one time. But yeah, I'll end with this. Lighten up, Patriots fans. This is the first time y'all won back-to-back games since 2022. I'm not with y'all. I like some of y'all players, but I damn sure don't like your coach. I like him as a player though, just not as a coach. All right, let's change the topic here. Let's go to our player awards. A lot of guys with really good performances in week 5. Offensive ace of the week. Who you got, Ed?
I gotta go with a player you warned me about. Rico Dowdle, man, did career day. Over 200 yards rushing. Definitely was a main factor in the Panthers winning against the Dolphins. So I gotta give love to Rico Dotto. See what he does against the Cowboys, his former team, next week.
There's a theme to my player awards this week, and it's AFC South. Uh, Mainly one team. I'm going with TJ Stroud, the Houston Texans. New career high in completion percentage, 23 for 27, 244 touchdowns. He got revenge from last Christmas. Um, Plus, they pulled him from the game in the fourth quarter. I would say close to halfway through the fourth quarter. He could have easily gotten 5 touchdowns on us. Um, 8 guys caught passes there from CJ Stroud in that one. Um, they did whatever the hell they wanted against us, especially him. CJ Stroud is my offensive player of the week. Defensive side of the ball, who you got, Ed?
I'm gonna show some love to the Saints and my cornerback, my guy Kool-Aid McKinstry. 2 interceptions, 3 passes deflected, 3 solo tackles, and 1 assisted tackle. Picked off Jackson Dart twice, so give some love to the Saints cornerback Kool-Aid McKinstry. What about you, Brandon?
Jalen Petrie of the Houston Texans. Again, the theme is the AFC South. 2 interceptions. Uh, One on an Mark Andrews bobble tip pass play. Petrie comes. One of those was on that bobble tip pass play. Petrie came down fit. Plus, he had 4 tackles and 2 passes defensed. Special teams player of the week. Who you got?
My special teamer of the week is Eddie Pinheiro for the 49ers. He had a long of 59 yards, was 4 for 4 on all of his field goals. And of course, he had that game winning field goal in overtime. So let me give a shout out to Eddie Pinheiro, kicker for the 49ers. Brandon, how about you?
Again with the AFC South. Unfortunately, I made the note and I forgot to look up the player's name, but the Colts had a block punt on the Raiders punter, and I think it was a block punt for a touchdown. I can't remember exactly. But yeah, whoever that was on the Colts roster that blocked that punt, um, they blew out the Raiders there. Uh, he's my special teams player of the week. Whoever you are, I'll find out and maybe say it on Friday. Bonehead play or call of the week, Ed. What you got?
Yeah, we talked about it, or I mentioned it a little bit in the open job, but the Arizona running back, Imara DiMercado, another bonehead candidate of the year for me. Also, I'm going to throw Mark Sanchez in there as bonehead candidate of the year and move of the week. But hold on to the damn ball until you cross the goal line, please, so you break the plane. Just please. I mean, another week, guy fumbles the ball, gets a touchback, potentially cost their team the game. So Mari D. Mercado, you're my bonehead player of the week for that fumble out the end zone. How about you, Brandon?
Second straight week for that. A guy has done that. Will it be a trifecta in week 6? We'll see. It happens in streaks like that. If y'all don't pay attention. But I originally had the college ranks, the UNC quarterback. He threw the ball right to the helmet of his own left guard. Legit, it was like he looked like there was no other throwing lane. He was just trying to get. I don't know, whatever. But then I saw the replay of this. I didn't see it live. I was watching the game, but I was looking at my computer. One of the young wide receivers for Houston scored a touchdown. They were blowing us out. He did the Ray Lewis dance, and then Jair Alexander, a guy who's only been with us for like 2 months, he decided to try to take the ball from him. Make it make sense, in my opinion. How about playing some defense instead of trying to, start a silly scuffle, a silly ass scuffle, in my opinion. And again, you only been there for 2 months. You probably don't even know uh, anything about Ray Lewis besides the fact he played linebacker for 16 years for 17 years. Go sit down somewhere. Jair. Play some damn corner. How about that? That's my bonehead player call of the week.
All right. Speaking of go ahead calls and all that stuff, let's get to these other scores of week 5, shall we? Like we mentioned, 49ers beat the Rams in overtime, Thursday Night Football 26-23. Vikings outlasted the Browns in London 21-17. Colts beat the living shit out the Raiders 40-6. Saints and my guy Spencer Rattler finally get his first win in the NFL, beating the Giants 26-14. Cowboys over the Jets 37-22. Lord have mercy on Aaron Glenn's soul. I hope they give him another chance next year. I don't know, man. Still winless. As Brandon mentioned, Texans destroyed the Ravens 44-10. Good Lord. Titans get their first win, battle back to beat the Cardinals in the desert 22-21. I think I mentioned it early, but I'm done with the Cardinals. This is their third straight loss after starting the year 2-0. Bonehead mistakes. The offense is up and down. Marvin Harrison gets the ball one day, doesn't get the ball the next. I don't know what the hell's going on there, but I'm done with the Cardinals for now. And the Lions beat the Bengals 37-24. Brandon, what are your thoughts on these scores in these other games?
Saints Giants. Giants were the first team in NFL history to commit a turnover on 5 straight possessions since the Jets did it. Like I know it was 15 plus years ago. I can't remember the exact year. Cowboys Jets. You cannot deny it. I said it last week. I'm gonna say it again. Dak Prescott is playing as good as quarterback position as anybody in league. Maybe him and Baker Mayfield seem like the MVP front runners right now. Javonte Williams is looking like one of the best free agent pickups of any team. I know there was some question heading into season whether him or Miles Sanders, I believe, is the second running back, as well as Mr. Blue down there. I can't remember his name, the third running back. Which one of those guys was going to, thank you, which one of those guys was going to be the running back? And I told y'all Javonte is probably going to be the guy. Those guys that come from the Denver running back system, since probably way back when Terrell Davis was doing it, those guys that go to other teams tend to perform well the first or 2 years they leave Denver, and he's showing it right now in Dallas. The Jets are the first team to start 0-5 with about 0 forced turnovers in league history. Cardinals, in my opinion, against the Titans, that was a frustrating loss. Just watching, I'm not even a Cardinals fan, but I'm a supporter. They could easily be 5-0, but they continue to shoot themselves in the foot. Ed will probably talk about it a little bit more. If you hadn't seen the replay or the highlights of that game, go back and watch, and you'll see why. Detroit, it was their first win against the Bengals since 1992. And then, as you mentioned, Texans, Ravens. Texans came in there 0-8 in Baltimore. Of course, something had to give. They got their first win. Their offensive line looked like all pros against our defense. Stroud was taking everything. And you know how bad the Houston offensive line is. It's been bad for the past 2.5 years. They went up and down the field on us. I remember we got to halftime and I looked at my computer because I follow ESPN.com during the early games. And I saw that we was the first game to halftime. And I was like, thank you, Lord, because we need to get off the television. It was just bad, for sure. Houston, they had not scored any points in the third quarter all season. Of course, that streak broke as well. Again, CJ Stroud, 8 guys caught passes, just spreading the ball all over the damn field. 44 points allowed at home. That was the most under John Harbaugh. Their first punt of the game came in the middle of the fourth quarter after CJ Stroud was sent to the bench because he had beat the daylights out of us. So the backup quarterback, Davis Mills, was in. I mean, it was just bad from start to finish. But I will say this again. I think the schedule is starting to lighten up. I know next week the Rams, and we'll talk about it more on Friday. I know the Rams is going to be tough, but after that we had the bye week. I think some of our guys are going to come back, depending on how truthful John Harbaugh is with these injuries. I swear he'd be lying about these injuries. But after the bye week, the schedule gets a little bit different, and Pittsburgh's schedule is starting to toughen up, and they're off the bye week this week. Ed, what are your thoughts on these other scores from week 8? Excuse me, week 5.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I was surprised by the Colts beating the living hell out of the Raiders 40-6. That was a game I was thinking maybe the Raiders could steal that one, but Geno Smith, another game, another interception. I know Raiders fans are starting to get tired of him. Pete Carroll, I think this is his worst start ever. Cowboys over the Jets. Like you said, Dak Prescott's playing at an MVP level. That offense, even without CD Lamb, even without Cavante Turpin, still rolling along. Javonte Williams looking pretty good for them as a running back. Saints, I was really happy for Spencer Rattler. Thought he's been playing, decent football as of late. He just wasn't able to get the job done. But they finally get a win against the Giants. Jackson Dart, I guess we got to cool the brakes a little on him. They did beat the Chargers last week, but he had 2 interceptions in this game. He also fumbled the ball himself. I guess the wind knocked the ball out of his hands. No one hit him. He just dropped the ball for some reason. So that was almost my bonehead play of the week right there. But yeah, that wasn't a good look. Jackson Dart, he said he'll have to play better, do better. Yeah, you talked about it. You texted me early. This game's over. I think the score was like 17-0. It might have been like 10-0. He's like, this game is over. I was like, come on, man. Give you guys a chance. You knew it right away. God damn, man. I mean, Texans, it's the red zone. I was watching red zone. Every other player is like, and the Texans score again. And the Texans score again. I was like, good Lord Almighty. It's a bloodbath in Baltimore, folks. Good Lord Almighty. Lions over the Bengals. We'll see what Joe Flacco does with the Bengals, but I don't know. That defense still stinks. Al Golden coming in there, ain't much change. That defense still some shit. I know Joe Burrow's out, and the defense is a little bit longer, but that defense is still god awful. I think Mike Hilton is on IR now as well, so I mean we'll see how it goes out there. But the Bengals, it might be, I think Joe Burrow might be coming back by the time December rolls around. By that point, they might not win another game. I mean, it's just not looking good for them. So we'll see how that goes. The Vikings beating the Browns. That was a really good game. We both. I think you picked the Vikings, didn't you? But
I finally got an international game right. Yes.
Yeah, that game was up and down. Dylan Gabriel got the start. He looked pretty good, but wasn't able to complete the job. We'll see how they do next week. But yeah, man, definitely a crazy week. Cardinals Titans, man. I said it even when they were 2-0. I said it. They are very bad at putting teams away. They cannot close the door on teams to save their damn lives, and this is another example of that. And now they lost 3 straight games, all by like field goals, if I'm not mistaken, too. I don't know, man. I was thinking Kyler Murray and Marvis Harrison this year would take over and blow the league apart, but just hasn't been that case. Because Marvin Harrison, he had a great catch to start the game. Numbers look good to start the game, but I don't know what's going on with that. So we'll see. They definitely mixing James Conner out there. I don't think he'd make a mistake like Amari DiMercado made, but yeah, we'll see how this one goes, man.
Yeah, I actually thought the Giants heading into the season, that would have been the one game that they could have won within their first 8 or 9, and they go down there and lay an egg like that. The win that you're talking about, that you think knocked the ball out of Jackson Dart's hand, I don't know. It's definitely a dome down there in New Orleans, so it probably was just him being a standard, typical New York Giants quarterback. That's all that was. It was no type of wind in that stadium, in that dome. Trust me.
I was trying to give something.
Maybe the air conditioning. That was it. All right, everyone. That's a wrap on Week 5 in the NFL 2025 season. Week 6 begins Thursday night with NFC East play. Eagles at Giants from MetLife Stadium. Please take a moment, hit the subscribe button on your screen. We definitely appreciate it. Follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, Podcast B&E, and on IG, Instagram at B&E Podcast. We'll be back Friday. Thanks for watching. Until next time, love one another.